Hello, everybody. Welcome to tonight's edition of From the Boardroom to the Locker Room. Nice to have you on with us. There comes a moment where you need to reflect on certain results in certain matches around the sporting world. Yes, you can reflect on one. So many times South African cricket teams have been accused of choking, and so many times people have used horrible words, chokers. Well, yesterday, the African women's cricket team were perhaps on course to be called chokers. Often that people are proud enough to turn around and say, hey, well done. It is one of those opportunities for South African sporting fans to turn around to our women's Proteas team and say, hey, congratulations, because they pulled a rabbit out of the hat yesterday when they were 140 in reply to India's 251 all out with 14 over in a must-win World Cup cricket game. And my goodness, did they deliver. Thanks to Nadine de Klerk, she launched a counter-attack from number 8 to lead the Proteas to an extraordinary 3-wicket victory against the hosts and one of the favourites, India. De Klerk came to the crease 142 for 6, hammered 84 not out from just 54 deliveries, and shared a 7th wicket stand of 69 with Chloe Tryon to revive South Africa's hopes after slumping to 81 for 5. Now, 81 for 5, I thought to myself, here we go. Flattering to deceive at a World Cup once again. Well, maybe this is that turning point for the South African women's cricket team, who have got so close, and of course South African got so close to winning World Cups. This the time. There are signs when it's written in the stars that perhaps this might just very well be the time. So, the Cricket World Cup will continue over the next couple of weeks still, and there's going to be a lot more action still to come. The fixtures for the weekend currently on: New Zealand are playing Bangladesh. Tomorrow, England play Sri Lanka. India then play Australia on Sunday, which is an absolute humdinger of a game, bearing in mind Australia have already pointed you to a without game here, beaten by South Africa. Remember, the top 4 teams will qualify for the semi-finals. And then on Monday, again, a must-win situation for South Africa, and one they do win, bearing in mind the results of the other games, will put them in a very, very strong position going forward to make semi. On Tuesday, it's New Zealand, Lanka. England play Pakistan on Wednesday. Thursday sees Australia against Bangladesh. On Friday, the South African women are playing Sri Lanka. South Africa's hand to Pakistan before they get to their last match, which is the one that they definitely don't want to have against arguably the best women's cricket ever played the game, Australia. So well done, South Africa. Well done to Nadine de Klerk. Laura Wolfart, who played a magnificent innings of 70, albeit it was slow. Kinds of innings that you need from your captain to show the rest of the team that it can be done. South Africa, brilliant. Well done to them, and hopefully it can continue on. It's not the only cricket that was played and is being played at the moment. Let's look at the cricket. South Africa 4 days series, under 58 for 1. Northern Cape 236 bowled out in their first innings. The India-West Indies match is continuing on today. That's the second match day. And Dolphins scored 308 in the first innings. The Lions replied with 232 for 5. And that Dolphins innings was highlighted by 104 of 185 balls from Tepang. And then cameo innings is from to Kaya Zondo, got 45, for Yun and Ethan Bosch, along with Keshav Maharaj at the end. They put on a really good trip, with Bosch getting 36 or 48, and Maharaj 43 not out at the end of 52 deliveries. And the Lions struggling a little, really bored. 72 from Joshua Richards up top of 93 deliveries, and 114 deliveries for Richardson at Swanee. I just thought of a half a century. And to see that Keshav Maharaj is back in the wicket, 3 for 53. He bowled 31 overs, did Keshav Maharaj. So that, of course, is the Cricket South Africa 4-day series that's currently underway. There's also a one-day international, South Africa and Namibia. Then the Test series, Pakistan against Africa, starts on the weekend. Pakistan, South Africa there. We look forward to some fantastic action as far as that is concerned. And then early next week, play the Tuskers. This, of course, in the series. Warriors play Boerland. The Titans against the Lions, and West against the Northwest Dragons. So lots of cricket still to come. Lots of action on the cricket fields. Just one bit of disturbing, not so much disturbing news, but just unfortunate news is that Senna Parker has sustained an injury so young in his career. So he is out of the 2020 International tomorrow against Namibia. White ball to Pakistan side with a hamstring. The 19-year-old is placed the squad to face Namibia, and the series again won by the opener Otniel Bartman. Zot Williams is his replacement for the one-day internationals on the sub. Pakistan have included 5 spinners and Raheen Shahid 18-man squad for the 2-match test series against South Africa. Besides the deadly spin duo of Norman Ali and Sajid Khan, Pakistan named Abrar Azal Akram and veteran Ashif Afridi for the series in the 12th of this month. Sean Cap, the fast bowler, shine after a year-long gap from the longest format. And Temba Bavuma is being rested. And the return of Quinton de Kock are the 2 major focuses after Cricket South Africa named their squads for the upcoming all-format tour of Pakistan. The Proteas begin their defence of their ICC World Test Mace 2-match series starts, as I say, in Lahore. Aidan Markram will be looking after the captaining duties there. So let's look at that Proteas squad for that match. Markram, the captain, David Bedingham, Corbin Bosch, Dewald Brevis, Tony de Zorzi, Hamza, Simon Michael Janssen, Keshav Maharaj, Vian Mulder, Sinuran Muthsami, Kagiso Rabada, Ryan Rickleton, Tristan Stubbs, Penelan Subrai, and Kyle Verreynne. That's the team, and then Mahoney there for the test, might add. So lots of, and then the squad to play tomorrow for the one-day game against Namibia. Donovan Ferreira comes aside, Nandre Berg, Gerald Coetzee, Quinton de Kock back in action. Let's see what he does. Bjorn Fortuin, Ruben Herman, Quinton Parker as saved out now because of injury. Rivaldo Munsami, Nkaba, Peter, Luandre Pretorius, and Jay Sard Williams. That first test match, as I say, through to Thursday. If it lasts that long, South Africa to defend that may still have to get off very good start against Pakistan in what will be some extraditions in Pakistan for the Proteas. Right, rugby, no test matches this couple of weekends. Full steam ahead for United Rugby Championship action. It all starts tonight when Munster take on Edinburgh, take on the Stormers, all scored at 9. It'll be an interesting game that the Stormers come off 2 very good wins to open their season, which unfortunately for them years gone by, a terrible start to their seasons. This has been it's going to be a test of their depth tonight from home for the season. Benetton take Lions. Ospreys play Zebra, the Warriors play the Dragons, Leinster play the Sharks, Cardiff play Connacht, and Ulster play the Bulls. And there's one international fixture this weekend with tickets to football teams, but they're not 2 teams. Paraguay take on Brazil. So if we have a look at the United Rugby Championship, the end, then you will see that a couple of the Springboks are back. South Africa's stiff challenge in the Vodacom Rugby Championship wraps up. All 4 sides face away games for the first time in the competition. In the opening 2 rounds, anything to go by, the away teams face a massive task. There was just 1 victory for an away side and a draw in the first 2 weeks of the competition. 1 victory and 1 draw in 14 shows you how tough the task is early in the competition for teams abroad. Now, luckily, the Springboks didn't have to travel far from their Twickenham match last weekend, where they defended the Castle Rugby Championship to join up their franchises. But managing game time, integrating players back into the system where they spent months with the Boks is always going to be the first week. So news about the return to the Stormers of Boks stars Sasha Feinberg and Gomasuni and Willemson will be a massive boost as in the form of their lives, and will certainly be a nightmare for any opposition. Add that to the solid start the Stormers have had with wins over Ospreys and Leinster. Things are looking good for the Cape side at the moment. Dion Fourie returns off the bench, and their strong forward pack bodes well for the Stormers. So look forward to that one. As far as the Lions are concerned, it hasn't been said already. The folk in the Currie Cup backfired. They're opening 2 games of the competition. So once the game between Leinster and the Hollywood Sharks bruised after 2 defeats, they have a bunch of returning players to boost them this weekend, including Ethan Hooker and Makole Mapimpi. That should provide them with some cover. Both Bongi and Vincent Kocha on the bench for an extra. Jason Jenkins returns to the lineup, and Sia Masuku to the bench. That gives John's team a bit of. As for the Bulls, never won in Belfast. That remains a massive task for them. They are better on the road, as last season's wins in Munster, Glasgow and Bionnet in the Challenge Cup showed. The Bulls have scored almost 100, and that's interesting way to see how they do. They go into that match with a couple of their Springboks back. And, of course, Andre Pollard, a key figure in his first game back in the Bulls side. So that's a bit of a look at how the South Africans can and should do over the weekend. If they can come away with 50% away record, that'll be brilliant. Hopefully better than that. But if we have a look, I know it's early in the season, look at the table. So the Bulls and the Stormers top the matches played 10 max time to the Stormers, with Mr. and Zebras also points. Cardiff, the Glasgow Warriors, Ulster, Connacht, Benetton make up the top 9. At the bottom, Llanelli Scarlets, who the Stormers play tonight, and Leinster, rock bottom, Ospreys and the Lions. The Dragons struggling to get a win their belts. So lots to play for in the United Rugby Championship over the course of the end. Well, let's talk golf now, shall we? And 3 golf tournaments, in fact, over the weekend that will continue on. The Bay Current Classic with Max Greiser. There shot a magnificent 12 after the 2 rounds, so he's doing exceptionally well. In the Limpopo Championship, that is where Keelan van Wyk is on a roll, shot 67, leading there. And then the Open de España just got underway today, and that, of course, on the DP Tour. So 3 big golf tournaments going on at the moment in the golf world. As far as tennis is concerned, Aryna Sabalenka extended her unbeaten run at the Wuhan Open, 20 matches with a 6-3, 6-3 victory. Elena Rybakina earlier on today, keeping her live her quest for a 4th straight title and setting up a semi. Remember, it's nighttime now, or almost early day in Wuhan. It's the 13th chapter of a rivalry played out, including the 2020 Australia, who struck first against Rybakina by breaking in the 8th game. The world number 1 went on to close out the victory despite a few service wobbles. Up next, for the big-hitting Belarusian, the American Jessica Pegula. She came from behind to beat the Czech Katerina Siniakova 2-6, 6-6-3 for her 50th match win of the season, and boost her chances of qualifying for next month ending WTA finals. Inga has won 8 of her 10 meetings with Pegula, including the Open final. Here, Germany's Laura Sichmann beats American 13 in the other quarterfinal later. The second seed, Swiatek, will play the Italian 7th seed Jasmine Pianini in a rematch of the 2024. Djokovic threw up. Zverev poured sweat out of his shoes, and Emma Raducanu quit her match with dizziness. That's the bad news for the world's top tennis players. In the baking weather in China, Denmark's Holger Rune called the temperatures of more than 30 degrees Celsius and humidity soaring past 80% at the Shanghai Masters. Rune was heard to say that you want players to die on court. Well, currently decisions affecting play do have weather, including heat, lie with on-site ATP supervisors in coordinating with on-site medical teams. And this, of course, is an issue that's coming up, but it's all got to do, the players are beginning to moan a little bit because the players are complaining, using all sorts of other excuses about the amount of tournaments that the WTA and the ITF are insisting that they play year in and year out. Novak Djokovic, of course, he can choose what he wants to play whenever he wants for the rest of these years. They do really need to play as much as they possibly can to earn the living and earn the money that they need to earn. But be that as it may, we want to watch them. They earn a lot of money. Stop moaning and play. Right, let's move on to some motorsport news through the course of Toto Wolff. Expects Christian Horner to be back in the paddock at some point, but thinks his old sparring partner's exit was a reminder that even the biggest character is part of Formula One's solar system. And he had some great lines because he said he's not part of us, he's not the same stuff. Horner sacking his Red Bull team principal after 2 decades, 8 drivers and 6 constructors' world titles, stunned the sport. There's been plenty of speculation that he will. Aston Martin boss Andy Cowell joked at the weekend's in Singapore. Horner had been in touch with team owners at paddock. Wolff confirmed Mercedes not being contacted by. Now, he went on to make some interesting comments, and I'd like to read you some of them. Wolff's running feud with Horner as the drivers battled it out for the world title was one of the most compelling narratives of the next series Drive to Survive. Although Wolff did not miss the moment when the run-ins escalated rhetorically, Karpas left the sport without one of its biggest characters. Maybe the personality got too big for his own good in his best quote of all. He said, "The wheels move so fast, the hamster wheels keep turning." My feeling is probably he's going to be back, but where and how, and he doesn't know. Even after he's gone, Toto Wolff is still having a go at Christian Horner. Toto, just remember that nobody, and quite rightly say, what was his word, in the solar system, Horner is not the sun itself. Well, neither are you, Toto Wolff. Now, the other story out of Formula One this week is that not many Formula One teams with cars finishing 17th and 20th. We're talking about race wins and championships for 5 years, but the Sauber Garage is no ordinary place. The Swiss-based outfit in Formula One since 1993, with 1 Grand Prix triumph and 28 podium, will become the Audi Works team next year. Their ambitions are evident in the caliber of leader, former Ferrari team principal Mike Binotto, and Red Bull's former sporting director Jonathan Wheatley was only ready to join as team principal in April, but in the midst of his race pit all, the 58-year-old Brit was content how everything has gone so far. I wonder if a Christian Horner attorney at Audi. Who knows? Who knows? So let us see as the season progresses and season gets. As far as action this concerned, no 2 or 4-wheeler in terms of the GP or Formula One this weekend. So lots to look forward to next week on early in the morning, Phillip Island for the Australian GP, that's MotoP. And then later on in the evening, the Circuit of Americas in Austin, Texas for the U.S. Grand Prix. And as you can imagine, that is going to be a really, really big one. Lots of rivalry on. Has the McLaren Pyre team order got in the way? Going to be allowed to race? We may see if that happens. And interesting, going to perhaps capitalize on the McLaren drivers, Piastri's fighting out for the world title. I know they did touch in Canada. There's still going to be a big coming together between those two. It is absolutely inevitable. The last time we had a scenario similar to the one that we got right now was at Mercedes, obviously Lewis Hamilton, but this time it's the two of them fighting for their first driver's title. Hamilton had won a few already. Of course, they've got his opportunity, but the two of them were not the greatest of friends, I guess, on the track, but the rivalry and the scenario was slightly different, I guess, with Hamilton having already won it and Nick Rosberg looking for his first one. Before that, I suppose it was the likes of Berger and Schumacher and Prost and Alesi and those kind of rivalries that there were, but not two teammates in recent years as there has been, bearing in mind, of course, that Max Verstappen has won it 4 in a row, and his teammates have never even come close to him at all. Right, a rather important game of football that is currently underway with regards to South Africa's football, Bafana. They are currently playing a game in Durban. It's a Zimbabwe home game, but unfortunately for Zimbabwe, they are unable to host matches at home in the African qualifiers, whether it be World Cup or other, which means that South Africa have an opportunity this evening, one in which they have to take. They have no choice whatsoever as Zimbabwe go head-to-head with South Africa in the 2026 World Cup Group C qualifying match at the Moses Mabhida Stadium. The Warriors are winless. That's Zimbabwe in their last 3 games across the competition, having 1-0 defeat to Rwanda in their Group C match back in September. Their consecutive defeat. They find themselves placed 6th in Group C, having collected only 4 points from 8 matches, and they have already eliminated from the Southern African contingent competition. So a Southern African derby, only pride to play for. South Africa are undefeated in their last 7 matches across all, given a reverse situation against the Super. But I guess in their record it'll say they've lost, but on the field of play they actually haven't. Following their 1-1 draw with Nigeria in Group C, it's their 3rd draw in their last 4 games. So with FIFA having awarded Lesotho a 3-0 win over South Africa, who failed an ineligible player in March, South Africa, Bafana are 14 points from 8 games. The South African giants to win their last 2 games in order to stand a better of qualifying directly for the World Cup. So what has to happen? South Africa have to win both their games. They have to win with a better goal if their opponents in Group C also win 2 games. So let me have a look for you and give these in the groups at the moment. So Group C, of course, sees South Africa along with Benin, who have 14 points. Benin have a goal difference. Goals against 7, goals difference of 4, South Africa against 9, because they obviously lost the 2 goals and were penalised 3 goals by FIFA. They have a goal difference of 3, and then Nigeria still have an outside chance. They have 11, as do Rwanda. So it's all to play for, to be perfectly honest. If South Africa lose and Nigeria and Rwanda win their remaining matches, in just one of those results go either way. This group very, very wide open indeed. So a lot to play for. Let's have a look at the fixtures, shall we? So Gambia, Gabon, Seychelles against the Ivory Coast, South Sudan against Senegal, Sudan against Mauritania, Togo against the Democratic Republic, Lesotho, Nigeria. So you would expect Nigeria away in from that game. Rwanda play Benin. Now, the best thing that could happen there for South Africa is a draw between countries. Absolute best result of all, a draw in that game, a win for South Africa, and all the fears of losing the point most probably go away, because then a win in their last game for South Africa, all over bar the shouting. Sao Tome and play Tunisia, and Zimbabwe, as I say, plays South Africa. And then on Sundays, playing Chad, play the Central African Republic, Burkina Faso, Djibouti play Sierra, Egypt, Guinea-Bissau, Ghana play the Comores. They're also on the Ghana of qualifying, and Mali play Madagascar. Monday sees Eritrea play Tanzania, Equatorial Guinea play Liberia, South Africa, Sao Tome and Principe play Namibia, Cape Verde play Eswatini, Cameroon play Angola, Lesotho play Zimbabwe. That game will have absolutely no bearing whatsoever on the group, while Mauritius play Libya. And then on Tuesday, Seychelles against Gambia, Algeria against Uganda, Guinea against Botswana, Nigeria against Benin. That game with those sides depends on the results. And then Somalia, Mozambique, and then South Africa. That game is going to be in their own hands. Winning that game, and that most probably, of course, results this weekend will guarantee them automatic qualification for the World Cup. Democratic Republic of Congo play Sudan, Ivory Coast play Kenya, Gabon play Burundi, Morocco play Congo, play Mauritania, and we will then know who the 9 African countries, that's right, 9 African countries will be, who will have qualified for the World in North America next year. Now, that's not the only football this weekend, and obviously by fact, imagine with all the international football going on, there's no Premier League. Any of the major countries for weekend, just the coalition on the league field around. There is World Cup qualifying in Europe, and the fixtures this weekend see Kazakhstan might play Liechtenstein, Belgium play North Macedonia, Iceland play the Ukraine, Kosovo play Slovenia, Northern Ireland play Slovakia, while Sweden plays Switzerland. Tomorrow, full Latvia against Andorra, Hungary against Armenia, Norway against Bulgaria play Turkey, Estonia play Italy, Serbia play Albania, Portugal play Republic of Ireland, and Spain play Georgia. Just on to Portugal. This week, Christian, as a side note, became a football billionaire. Yep, football billionaire. Although joining the other four, which makes 5 sporting billionaires. In Sunday, San Marino plays Cyprus, the Faroe Islands play Czechia, Scotland play Belarus, Lithuania play Poland, while Romania play Austria, and on Monday, North Macedonia, Kazakhstan, Slovakia play Luxembourg, Kenya play Switzerland, Sweden play Kosovo, Ukraine play Azerbaijan, and Wales play Belgium. And then Tuesday sees England away to Latvia, Estonia, Moldova, Andorra, Serbia, Republic, and Turkey against Georgia. Lots of World Cup footballing action. Lot of action on the football fields. Lots to play for coming up over the next couple of weeks, or days, to be perfectly honest with you, not so much weeks as far as football concerned. A couple of matches that were played last night. Just England beat Wales in a friendly, and a World Cup qualifier last night. Massive result. Austria 10-0 over San Marino. And then a couple of draws. Bosnia-Herzegovina and Cyprus 2-2. Denmark beat Belarus 6. The Netherlands beat Malta 4-0. Croatia 2-0 in their game. Scotland beat Greece by 3-1. Good result there for Scotland. And Finland beat Lithuania by 2-1. That from the boardroom to the locker room as we've previewed a sport weekend. Hopefully it will be one in which your team, mainly international or United Rugby Championship team, come out as victors for the weekend. I will tell you about it and the stories behind all the Monday edition of the boardroom to the locker room. Until then, be nice to each other, and bye for now.